I'm Valda Coolwell. I was born in Bundaberg. In my Aboriginal way, I was born on country. And my father's Aboriginal, half-caste Aboriginal man. My mother, full South Sea woman, born in Rockhampton, but lived most of her life in Joscalee as a young woman. Her name was Dorothy Hughes, and her father was blackbirded from Tanner Island when he was about 12, 13 years of age. I'm not sure what year it was, but he was quite young. He died in 1938. My grandfather, Jim Hughes, and my grandfather, because he was so small, he was sent out to, well, a woman and her husband come to the boat to pick whoever they wanted, They were all going down to the boats to meet the boats to get their men to work on their farms. And he said he's too small to work on the cane, to clean the land for the cane. We'll take him with us out west to our station. So he went out to Minnie Down Station, which is west of Rockhampton. Now, this is only my way of thinking. They told me for white man to work on to clear the land, it was hard work for them to clear the land, And coming from England, they weren't really adapted to the land at that time. So they said, no, we'll get, I guess it was the government who said, no, we'll get someone else. So they brought over Sinhalese people, Sri Lankans, Indians, and tried them to work clearing the land. But because they wanted them to do it for nothing, they rebelled at the idea of doing work and not getting paid. And so they had to find some other way. So they said, go to the islands and get, all the Pacific islands, and we'll see if we can get those. And that's what happened. They stole them away. They didn't ask. In later years, apparently, they did sign a form to say they're willing to come to Australia. That's what I believe. I think my grandfather would have been one of the ones who, came out with that knowledge, of working for money. But they did get paid a pittance, which they saved. They were very frugal, and they saved and put it away, would not spend it. When my grandfather eventually died, he had £10 to give to the eldest child in each of his children's family. He worked on that Minnie Down station for many years, and he was a young man by the time he left there. And he came to Rockhampton, and then there was land set aside, I'd imagine, for the South Sea Islanders down at Joscalee, and they were able to buy that land if they so desired. So he bought his land. The first lot of the property you get to when you get into Sandhills, Joscalee, Keppel Sands, that's the three names, for that area. And it's the first big property. And he worked that land, he cleared the land, and grew all manner of vegetables and herbs and trees, fruit trees. Beautiful piece of land, sat on the just on the hilltop, and at the back of his house was a big lagoon full of beautiful water lilies. And so he named that property Lilyvale, because all the water lilies growing on the big lagoon at the back of his house. And my grandmother, Ada, she was Ada Miller. She became Ada Hughes and Ada Ambertell. She was the first president of the P&C at the school at Joscalee. I think they call it the Joscalee Native School. Grew up mostly in Gladstone, and in those days we just mixed only with the Aboriginal and South Sea Island people that lived in the town. and most of them were Aboriginal South Sea. I first started work when I was going to school. I used to clean out the shop not far from where we lived at Barney Point, and that started me working and getting money. And then I wouldn't go back to school because we never had much money. And I was in grade 10 at the time, or Form 4 I think they called it, and that was the junior year. But I wouldn't go back to school because we never had money to buy the things that I needed for domestic science and all those things. And I said, Mum, I'm not going back to school. Big shame. I got no proper books and things, you know. So she said, well, you can't stay home. You've got to get out and work. Tried to get a job on the stations, couldn't get one. So my cousin was working here in Brisbane at the Mater Private Hospital. So she said, come down here, and I got a job here working at the Mater Private Hospital as a pantry maid. Cleaning the silver, washing up and clearing the tables, setting up the trays for the patients. And setting up trays in a private hospital is no mean feat. Oh, the old sisters, they had you going, I tell you. But all the time I was wishing I would do something else, you know, to better myself. And whilst I was at the hospital, I was going to sit for an exam to work for the PNG as a telephonist. But the morning that I was supposed to go, the old sister comes up and says to me, Valda, we need you today to work. So that smashed my chances of being a telephonist with the PNG. But five children later, I had the opportunity to try again. So I sat for the exam and the first time. Well, I wanted to do it before, but I never had the opportunity. But anyhow, I ended up at the post office working as a telephonist. I was there for 20 years. Because I am both, I never deny one for the other. But I'm proud of South Sea. If I deny my South Sea Islander heritage, I'm denying my mother and my grandfather and all my South Sea family. And it's something I never do. By the same token, I never deny my Aboriginality either, because it makes me who I am. So I'm proud of that. I find that a lot of our people backward in telling their children their stories. They never talk about it. But I'm lucky because my mother spoke about who she was and the stories that were handed down to her by her father. I want them to be proud of who they are. Don't deny the fact that they have a history and it needs to be told. And so people can know who you are and what you have done with your lives since your grandfather or grandmother came to Australia. You've got a lot to give. And I know a lot of our young people, I'm very proud of their achievements and what they've done over the years. Yeah. They've, you know, and even us older ones, holding on to who we are, having our organisations, South Sea Island organisations. Yeah, so step up, be proud. You might have Aboriginal blood in you, but you're still South Sea Islander, and be proud of that fact. A lot of our people have gone through and got education because they're part Aboriginal. But a lot of those who are just only South Sea, they don't have those opportunities. So we want them to stand up and be proud and say, no, we're South Sea and we want to get a good education as well. We have made a mark for ourselves in Australia. And you know, a lot of our football players today, like the Meningas, the Yao Yaos, the Naguses, the Igmalases, I honour those young men and I honour the young women who have gone on to greater heights as well.